My name is Matt Casal. I'm the Environment Campaigns Director for U.S. Park Education Fund. I'm really excited. Thanks everyone for joining today. So electrifying your kitchen might not be your first thought when you're thinking about electrifying your home and all of the appliances that you have, but it is an important one. It's one that's really not that hard to do, and one that could provide critical health benefits for your family. And the reason why it could provide those critical health benefits, what's the problem? People love their gas stoves, but there's a hidden danger seeping out of them, and that's air pollution. Cooking with gas can produce air pollution levels indoors that would exceed EPA's outdoor health-based standards. So if it's bad for you outdoors, you can imagine even worse indoors. And so that means that doing something as simple and innocuous as making a meal for your family can release pollutants into our homes. Some studies show lead to the development of asthma, especially in children, and worsen symptoms for those with pre-existing respiratory illnesses, including childhood asthma. One report even compared the effects of using gas stoves around kids unvented to those of secondhand smoke exposure. And then, of course, as long as we keep our stoves hooked up to the gas lines, we're going to be extracting, transporting, and burning methane gas, which is a major contributor to climate change. So ultimately, what we want to do, right, is shift our cooking away from gas appliances to electric or induction. But I like to keep this up here to say, don't panic if you have a gas stove in your home. You don't need to run over there right now and pull it out of the wall. There are steps that you can take to protect your family, short of ripping it out of your kitchen, but these are not perfect solutions. And the next time you're in the market for a stove, I would consider going electric or induction, and we'll talk about how the Inflation Reduction Act can help you do that. But here are just some tips if you do have a gas stove on how to minimize the indoor air pollution that you're experiencing as a result of your gas stove. Again, it's not a perfect solution, and it doesn't solve the climate problem with using methane gas, but this can help protect you in your home. But ultimately, we shouldn't have to go to all these lengths just to make sure that a product that we've purchased legally and installed correctly and are using as they tell us to use don't pollute our inside our homes and make us sick. So this is, this slide, it says policy solutions. It's really the bigger, broader changes we need to protect people from indoor air pollution and move our society off methane gas as a way to cook in our homes. And you can see some of the policy solutions up here that are all sort of pick and choose and both which solutions you want to start to try and put into effect, but then also where you do it. Indoor air quality and ventilation standards, warning labels, and consumer education, incentives and rebates. All of these are things that can be done at the federal level, can also be done at state, local levels, can also push corporations, companies, retailers, manufacturers to adopt some of these practices voluntarily. So while we're getting to the point where we can phase out all new gas hookups, we can, all new installed stoves at some point will hopefully be electric or induction. But up to that point, there are all of these policy solutions we can put into place at different levels of government in order to protect people. None of this is easy. I think, as we've seen, this trying to pass the Inflation Reduction Act and other good policies around building electrification, the gas industry is powerful, well connected. I think people's perceptions of gas and gas stoves particularly are still in a place where we don't really realize how bad that they are. And so in all of what we're doing, we want to make sure that we're spreading the word about what are the actual risks of using a gas stove in your home, both the health risks, the safety risks, and then the climate risks. And then ultimately, we want to pivot, right, but even better, there's this great solution. We have options, and they're really good options to move off of gas stoves. I have an electric stove in my house, and I love it. It has a quick boil feature. I have two young daughters. One is 2.5 and one is 5. They love mac and cheese, and I have to tell you, when I'm being heckled by a 2-year-old and a 5-year-old about, getting their mac and cheese on the table faster, it's nice to be able to boil water quick, right? The last thing they want to hear is, "Oh, I'm still waiting for the water to boil." And then, electric cooking sort of has gotten a bad rap in the past. It's not as good as cooking on gas. The coils are terrible, that sort of stuff. But electric cooking has come a long way, and induction cooking is the future here today. Induction technology is cool. It's exciting. It's fast, efficient, and pollution-free, even faster than my flat top electric stove. Induction cooktops use magnetism to heat metal cookware. So when you turn on an induction stove or the cooktop on, electric currents underneath a smooth cooking surface create a magnetic current within the cookware being used. The direct transfer of energy results in an instant and efficient heating. They're faster than both gas and traditional electric coil cooktops. Some models can boil that pot of water in just 2 minutes. Induction also results in precise control and consistent levels of heat. And the appliance responds immediately to changes in temperatures by adjusting the strength of the electric currents. So sometimes you'll hear real chefs use gas. We put together a whole list of quotes from some really impressive chefs who swear by induction. This really is a really superior cooking tool that allows you to move off of gas. Some things to know when switching to electric or induction cooking: you may need to do some electrical work in your kitchen if you don't already have the outlets. So that's a consideration. And then while traditional electric stoves are often cheaper than their gas counterparts, the new versions in the induction cooktops can be more expensive than comparable gas counterparts, although you can find sort of options at every level of the spectrum. But price certainly will be a consideration, which brings me to the more good news. The Inflation Reduction Act, as Senator Smith mentioned, will soon help you save money if you're replacing a kitchen appliance with an electric one. The bill includes rebates and tax credits for bigger purchases, such as energy efficient heat pumps and electric vehicles. One of the lesser known provisions, however, allocates funding for states to provide rebates for the purchase of new electric appliances, including cooktops, ranges, and wall ovens. So for example, you could receive a rebate of up to $840 on a new electric cooking appliance, and up to an additional $500 depending on your income level and if you're converting from gas or propane to electric. And then, like I mentioned, you may need to update your electrical panel. If you need to do that, you can also get a credit for doing that through the the Inflation Reduction Act. Inflation Reduction, Induction, it's tongue twister. So you can get an additional tax credit of up to about $4,000 for the expense of upgrading your electrical work in order to accommodate your new fancy electric or induction stove. So again, electrifying our kitchens, our stoves, getting rid of our gas stoves is really important for climate. It's really, really important for health. And the Inflation Reduction Act provides these new opportunities to make it even easier to do.